What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another edition of the Crane Kicks Lex podcast. Today's episode, it's going to focus on all the ladies that play for the club. We're going to focus on the women's teams. The men's teams, we're going to save for a later date. We'll dive into all of that. We just had a lot to talk about. And to be quite frank with you all, we are all dead tired. I am running on ibuprofen. And that's it, because we got done with our first ever practice for Rec League. We decided to all get together and just kind of see what we could do.
Dust off the cobwebs.
Test our limits. See what might happen. And it went okay. And, I will say it was very revealing. It made me kind of be a little introspective for a minute and be like, I really should not have been neglecting cardio over the past year-ish and a half. I don't know, whatever the time frame is. Should have maybe been doing stuff. But here we are. We were running off vibes, and I'm feeling good. Good.
Can you guys remind me when we're done this to eat a banana? Because I've already had 2 Charlie horses under my desk right now.
Oh, no.
We're fighting battles out here.
I'm going to send you a bunch of them, just a whole bunch of them, and you'll be fine. I know I told you guys beforehand, I pulled a muscle in my side. I played keep for a little bit, and somebody shot the ball at me, and I was reaching desperately, and I deflected it, but I think I'm paying the price for it. And then if anybody knows John Hunt with the Railbirds, he's on our team, although he was on the opposite team when we were scrimmaging. We had a toe-to-toe collision at one point. I think I got the worst end of it because I think I got the bottom of his cleat, and for a minute my toes were like, hey, that wasn't cool. You probably should not have went so hard on that. And, it's fine. It's fine.
It was a very humbling experience.
Yeah. So Jess and I were on opposing teams, and within the first 2 minutes, there was a ball, passed to Jess, but, I was defending. So I used all my energy on that first play just to get the ball back. And, I made the play, but I really paid the price.
Yeah, it was a mistake. It was a mistake.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, when we started I was put as a winger. I was like, how did this happen? Why am I here? Who made this decision for me? And then eventually I went into keeper, and I was like, this will be fine, except our other half of our team that we were playing against had 18 breakaways where 3 players were running at me with the ball, and I'm like, you know what? Whatever. Let's Jon Snow this, and pull out my sword, and I was ready to go, except there was no cavalry that arrived. It was just them scoring on me. So
it was just me scoring on you. I scored on you with my left foot too. That was embarrassing.
When was that?
It was late in the game. I got an assist from one of our teammates.
I wasn't keeper.
Maybe you weren't.
I wasn't keeper. Yeah. I gave up that life, man. I gave up that life. It was too many collisions. And,
I scored on Kyle though.
Oh,
I was the first goal. I got it on Kyle.
Got
Nice.
Kylo. I know. Poor Kylo. It's okay.
Yeah.
Hopefully he also is running on ibuprofen.
Right. There were multiple of those breakaways too, where Dillon's team was going, and I was like, there's no way I'm making it back for that. I'm just not even gonna try. It was.
Yeah. So somehow Dillon's team ended up being the under 35 squad, and our team ended up being the over 35 squad.
That's
I don't know.
True.
I don't know how that ended up that way. I think they had 2 people over 35 and everybody else was under. And then the rest of us 35 plus year olds were like, all right, we're doing this. Let's go. Youth is just a figment of our imagination. It doesn't matter at the end of the day.
Some of the people who are older than me were definitely in better shape than I, so I will not cast any dispersions.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. It's just even when you're in good shape, once you're past 35, your body still is I'm probably going to revolt against you. Just so you know, you're going to have a random pain appear out of nowhere at a pivotal point in this game, and you're not going to be able to recover.
Yep.
But that's okay. We're going to rise above it, and we got another practice. Hopefully we can kind of grease the wheels a little bit before we get into league play.
It'd be a lot of fun.
Yes.
It was a lot of fun. I had a really good time.
Yeah.
My favorite thing is we just have a really good team of people. Everybody's cool. Everybody's fun. Nobody's a toxic tryhard, because that's the worst.
Did you guys feel this too? Kind of like as the game kind of went along, we kind of developed more chemistry, and we kind of were like calling out things like, pass over here and stuff, or at least
Yes,
I was doing that, but
Yeah.
it was good. People were cooking.
Yeah.
It made me feel very, very hopeful for whenever we take on an actual like opposing team. So we got this. It'll be fun.
Yeah.
Atletico Madrid on top.
Yep.
Million goals. 4 million
Yep.
goals. 7. All right, let's get into talking about some women's team action for our club. Let's just do a quick check-in for our W League team real quick. So W League has been going off. It's like such a fast and furious season. I feel like we've mentioned this before. It's just bang, bang. Like, I feel like as soon as they start playing and you start hearing names of players, the season's over because it's so abbreviated compared to everything else. It's kind of like our USL2 squad. Their season's not very long, which we'll kind of talk about them next time. But it's really just every 5 seconds I turn around and I'm like, oh, wait a second, there's a game, which is cool because we have plenty of soccer that's free and open to go to. Like, you can just drop into these W League games. I think we've mentioned that before, but you can just roll up and then check them out. But right now with us, we're in the Valley Division, remember, for this year. So that's with Racing Louisville, Kings Hammer, FC Cincinnati, Indy 11, us, Dayton Dutch Lions. We're all in that same division together. Currently, we're sitting in 4th place right now. So we've got 3 points out of 3 matches. Our last match went pretty well against Dayton. We ended up with a dub, which was really exciting. Hopefully, we're seeing some momentum starting to build for the team. I think they're fun to watch. I've caught some of their games. I haven't been able to go in person, but I do watch them online, which is nice when the stream works. They're like Sport Engine plus whatever.
It's whack.
It's a little tough. I thought 11 back when the games were on 11. I thought that was a dicey program or a platform to watch it on, but NBC's stuff isn't really any better. Every once in a while, I'll get on there and it'll stop me after watching like 20 minutes of the game, and then it'll loop back to the beginning. I'm like, what's
I've had that happen.
Why can I not continue to watch? And I'll refresh and everything. But those woes aside, I've gotten to watch a little bit online, and I've been impressed. I know we've not had a lot of wins come in these last 3 games. We've only got 1, but I feel like the team plays exciting, and I feel like that's kind of a theme for our W League anyway, even through like changing coaching staff and players.
Yeah, I watched the whole game online, the most recent one and the win, and I liked what I saw from our team a lot. Like, we were moving the ball up very well, and we pressed very well, and there was shots. If not for the other team's keeper, I don't even remember the team we played, to be honest. It's so hard to keep track of all these leagues and teams. And
Dayton was our last one.
Dayton. Dayton's goalkeeper was like crazy. They were crazy good. It would have been 8-0 us if not for their keeper. But like I said, I liked what I saw from our side, and hopefully they can take that momentum and roll it into the next few matches.
Yeah, and Macy Barlow, which some of you guys probably remember her playing for the Super League a couple times, and she was on roster for our Super League squad. She had an assist in the match, and she had like a really good game. Like, it was a very, very good game from her. So super promising when you see your young players taking off like that, and it just kind of gives you a lot of hope for what might come for the future. Who knows where she's going to be after the Super League season concludes, which it basically has at this point, minus playoffs for other teams. But it'd be really cool to see her continue to develop, because I think she's a really gifted and talented player. So
Definitely.
I don't know. More W League. Go out there, watch it, or like catch it whenever the app works. If it works.
Yeah.
Sometimes it works. But at least try and support in some way, shape, or form. It is really cool to go out there and catch a casual game like on a random like weekday. And just be like, you know what? Why not? It's a nice day. Let's go out to the fields and kind of scope it out.
We mentioned this on the last podcast, but I want to hammer it home again. I really wish the club would post more about these teams, the W League and the USL2. Just because anytime the games are on, it always feels like it snuck up on me, and I always like forgot about it. So if they could just put more ahead a head notice, and if we're scoring, maybe talk about who's scoring too. We're interested in these people. We wear the badge all the time, and us diehards would like to know, and we want to support those people who hopefully we can see them in our higher ups in the future. So that's my request, please.
I 100% agree, because I feel like in the past there was way more exposure for the W League team, which I know we didn't have Super League and we didn't have USL2 going on. Yeah. But at the same time, it's like, if you're going to field all these teams, you got to give us info about them. Like, it's only fair. Yeah. And, you say for the diehards, and yes, mainly diehards are going to want to know this, but also I feel like casual fans would kind of like to just be like, oh, that's really cool. You're like fielding this player that plays at UK. And I can watch them play for free. And who knows, maybe they're going to play up into this professional team eventually. So I think that would be another cool way to capture some people that maybe have either just gone to a couple of our pro side matches or none at all. And then maybe just that connection starts pulling them in. It would be really cool. I know there's a lot going on with the club, and I know it's, a lot, and you're not trying to like flood your social media channel with 400 posts a day, but it's nice to get those updates. Yeah. Not have to rely on like sifting through.
Next home game for the Women's League is June 11th, which is a Wednesday at 7:00. Yeah.
So you got a little bit of space actually between our now and our next one.
Yeah, against Racing Louisville.
That'll be a fun one. I remember like playing Racing Louisville in the past like a couple seasons. Those were kind of fun matchups.
Yeah, they were.
Me and Dillon went to one last year, right? Wasn't it last year that we caught one?
Yeah,
it was a good match. And didn't Michaela Woods end up
Hattie?
Them? Yeah. She dropped some goals. That was really exciting. I loved it. Definitely scope it out at least, though. And if you can't find a lot of info from the club, we try our best to post about it and hopefully get some info out there, because, I mean, the way we view it is these could be the future players for our first team squad. So try and keep above water and get that info out there. Speaking of like developing players, Emma Johnson, somebody who played for our Super League team as well, she's been with the U.S. Women's National Team squad. Yeah, and they qualified for the U20 World Cup, and she actually had a goal in their most recent game, which is really cool. That was super dope to see. Yeah, yeah, she ended up with a goal of her own out of that. I think it was like a 8-0. I think it was 8-0 thrashing, but it was it was pretty dominant.
Hey, so we know from our experience today, you can't take any goal for granted.
That's true.
That's right. They came in bunches though, man. But
take them where you can get them.
That's right. However they come. But it was cool. So it's really exciting. Congrats to Emma and her squad. It's always really, really cool to see one of our greens go out on the national stage and then be able to show out and have an opportunity to represent their country. We have lots on the Super League doing that on the regular, like Nayoung Shin's out there, Grace Wisniewski's out there. So super neat. Congrats to her and her team for that. All right. Let's get into a little bit of Super League stuff.
Oh, do you want to mention the TST stuff?
Oh, yeah. How could I forget? See, I'm so tired that my brain's even shutting down. It's like, hey, do you know your like ribs hurt every time that you talk, Tyler? And it's like, it's fine. Ibuprofen will eventually kick it. Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that, Dillon. I don't know if a lot of people know about TST. I'm just like a mega sicko about the tournament. Whenever they first started doing it, I like stumbled upon it, and I've been locked in ever since. So if you don't know about the soccer tournament, that's why it's TST. It's actually starting up this week. They're rolling out this week. It was kind of like humble when it first began 2 years ago. And then last year they had a bunch of celebrities out. It was kind of crazy.
Pat McAfee was in it.
Yes. Sergio Aguero was playing on a team. Like there were a ton of people.
JJ Watt.
JJ Watt was in there. Like, and they added a women's side too last year, because the first year it was just men's and now there's a women's side. So essentially small sided games. And it's tournament setup, and the winner gets $1 million. $1 million for the men's winner, $1 million for the women's winner. And it's just like the best way I've heard it described. I was talking to somebody about this, actually, Gio from Greenville. I was talking to him last year about this. I was like, man, it'd be so cool to go. And I was trying to get info about it. And we realized that it's essentially like a Warped Tour for soccer fans. Like Warped Tour, you have all the bands playing all at the same time. You can just go from one to the other and connect with other people who love the same music as you. That's what this is with soccer. You could just go from one game to the other as long as you buy the tickets to kind of attend for that day or however many days you want to go. Catch all these crazy small-sided games with all these big name players, these random celebrities that have now joined in, that have prepped for this and take it super seriously. I think it's like an absolute blast. And then there's all these crazy rules. Like there's like the target score that you have to reach. So basically, at the end of regulation, you basically look at, how many goals the other team has. And then you have to like match the amount that they're ahead of you by to be able to win. And then like after so much time, when you're in target goal time, you start losing players for both sides. And I remember there were several matches over the past couple of years where it literally would be keeper versus keeper. It would literally just turn into a game of 1v1 to try and see who could score that like final goal and move on. So it is absolute chaos.
Whoa.
It's insanity. It's so much fun. I wish I could have gone this year. I had plans to, and it just didn't work out. So maybe next year, that's my goal, to maybe get out there. But if you've never heard of it before, you've got to check it out. It's on ESPN. I think it's the coolest thing. And we actually
we got some Premier. I'm looking at it now. There's some Premier League teams and Wrexham, Bournemouth, like got some pretty big name teams playing too.
A lot of like big name clubs will like let their youth players in and whatnot. And I remember like last year Bayern Munich had a team as well, and it's really cool.
Yeah, and it's wild.
And you were going to mention, Tyler.
Yeah, we've actually got former players and or current players that are on some TST teams. So Cesar Murillo, who was with us in year one. Last year, he participated with Villarreal, and he's playing with them again this year. I know Amal Knight is playing for the Reggae Rovers, which they're a super fun team to watch.
Yeah,
like I've watched them both years.
I liked them last year. Like you said, it got kind of more promotion last year, and that's kind of when I found out about it, and they were really fun to root for.
They are a really fun team. I love it. And then now you have Amal Knight there playing for them. So like, what's not to love? Of course, you have to watch their games and root for them. Excuse me. So he's going to be out there, and you've also got Kayla Dickerman. So we were talking about W League. She is a W League player from the past for us. She's going to be playing for Ultrain FC. And then Mary Kate, Sydney, and Ty from our Super League team are going to be competing, from what I've heard. So there are a lot of players, past and present, with kind of this whole Lexington pedigree that are going to be out there in this tournament. So lots of people that we have a personal connection to that we can cheer for. I plan to watch all of the matches that they're going to be involved in, but also I'm kind of a sicko with it. I really do have like 5 screens going at one time watching this tournament. It's kind of bad. Like my wife walks in and she's like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "I'm watching all this soccer. Look what happened here." And they're in target time and they're down to 2 people. It's 2v2. And she's like, "Okay, well, I'm just going to leave now." And I'm like, "Okay, I'll tell you whenever like cool things happen." But they're always happening. I don't know. It's a blast. I hope people really like latch onto it, because I love talking to people about it, because there's nothing cooler than them going up to somebody being like, "Hey, did you see that wild game versus whoever and whoever, like some random celebrity and this random celebrity, or this like retired soccer player?" Like even like Ocho Cinco. I don't know if he's playing this year, but he played last year, which I don't know. It's wild.
Yeah.
It's like a fever dream of a soccer tournament. That's the only way I could describe it.
It's really cool. There's a lot of like really cool moments that happen too, like really cool clips, like guys taking insane free kicks and stuff, and like, oh man, it's really cool. Yeah, check it out.
It's the bomb. So you'll see me like tweeting about it, posting about it, obsessing about it, and you'll eventually have to mute me and be like, "Okay, please stop, Tyler. I don't want to know about TST anymore." And then that's when I ring your doorbell and I'm like, "You heard about TST? Did you hear what happened today?" "How did you find out where I live?" "It's got connections. Don't worry about it." Gosh, let's go inside and watch TST now. So check that out if you guys haven't. That was a good call, Dillon. Reminded me about that. Okay, Now let's get into some Super League stuff. The season's over. What the heck? It felt like the lengthiest and shortest season all in one. And I swear it's like not only because of the European schedule, that crazy long break we had right in the middle of the season, but I think like the massive influx of new players that we added to the squad also made it feel like a brand new season after the break. So it's kind of weird thinking like we first saw these players way back in like, I don't know, what was it, like July or something, whenever we really got an idea of who was who and they were going out to events and whatnot. And here we are like a year later and it's finished up. And now I'm like, what do I do? Which luckily we have, USLW, USL2, USLC, but still I'm like, what the heck? We're done. What did you guys think about this last game? Let's kind of start more on a macro or micro scale.
Just lead us off.
Okay. So I wasn't there, which was a bummer. Obviously, family time is important, but I was watching online, and I think, knowing it was the last game, it was so bittersweet. And it was a nail biter for sure. But I'm also just in general really proud of how the women played. I think they did a fantastic job. I don't really have any negatives because we still got a point. It was awesome to see Tiana Tolson in goal, letting her get some minutes for the last game. And I think they did the subs really well. Overall, it was a great game to watch for sure. It was funny seeing Shay get a little spicy there with one of the DC player. We played DC.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I had a brain.
It's been a long night.
Yeah, true. Getting into it for a minute there with one of the DC players, because Shay is normally just very calm and collected and keeps her cool, and I think just the energy of the last game probably that was part of it with a lot of the women. But yeah, overall, the goals we had were awesome. Like that banger by Perez, oh my gosh, was fantastic. Cool. Maddie's goal was awesome. And
Nicole.
Yeah, Vernus.
He had another banger.
Yeah, hers was awesome.
Like, oh my gosh. Yeah, so even then, like, just I feel like the closure we needed on the season. If I could sum it up that way.
Yeah, I'm with you. I honestly, that game was the most fun I've had at an LSC match in a really long time.
Yeah.
Just the way that like the girls fought back and made it interesting. Like they played really well together. There was really something there. Ben Willis had them playing these last two games like we've never seen them play before in the most positive way. I mean that in a totally positive way. And yeah, like the goals, all of them were really well deserved. They were all earned, and they were all beautiful. Like Maddie's was just a pure striker poacher move, like, and for her to earn that was awesome, and I'm so happy for her, and I'm so proud of her for that. And Nicole's was like gave me flashbacks to Hafferty's goal, just like the way she just like looked up and was like, I'm just gonna rip this. And it was beautiful. And Tyler, we were right there, so it was like whoa, and then Maddie,
we saw that thing flying.
Yeah, and then Maddie Perez's goal is like it's crazy because Tyler and I were literally saying, we were like, why don't you just Cameron Lancaster this right now, Maddie?
Yeah,
and then she did.
We literally did.
We were like, holy hell.
You're spoken into an existence, man.
Yes.
You're like, she's going to Cam Lancaster this goal.
Yes.
Well, while I was watching, I'm like, she just needs to go for it. I really hope she just goes for it. And yeah, it was perfect.
I think that's what I really enjoyed. There were a lot of things from this match I enjoyed a lot, but it was really cool seeing, Maddie Perez and Maddie Parsons get their goals. Vernus's goal was amazing. Don't get me wrong, but it was a nice cap to the season to see us return to what kind of kicked off our season in a positive direction. At points, it was a tough season, but I feel like they were both an integral piece of this, and seeing them get their goals and kind of get their flowers was really, really cool. I thought, the whole time I'm watching, and this isn't, necessarily throwing shade, but there was a piece of me that was like, what if Ben Willis had just taken over when they decided to move away from Mike Dickey in general?
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if they had just been like, Ben, you're the guy, take it over. Because it felt like as soon as he took over, each game was a building block to get us closer and closer to what we wanted to be. So I couldn't help but wonder, what if he had a little bit more time? What if he had a smidge more time? And I think it was pretty evident that he wanted them to be successful after the match when he was giving his end of season speech in their huddle. It seemed like he was getting emotional. It seemed like he didn't have anything but praise for this team. And you can tell it meant a lot to him, just like it meant a lot to all the women who went out on that field every weekend and played for us. So there was that piece of me that was like, man, what if? But I am grateful that we managed to get where we got. This last game, there was fight and chemistry that we have not seen in quite some time. And I feel like a lot of players got a chance to see the field too. I feel like our whole approach was kind of giving players their last hurrah for the season, to be like, hey, it's the last one. Go out there and just play. Just do it.
Just have
do
fun.
What you know how to do. Yes.
Yeah.
And I really appreciated that. I thought that was really cool that we got to see so many of those early in the year players come out and do their thing. And then we also got to see like Natalie Higgins and Alicia Laramie, who had been out for so much, battling to recover and get back into, playing shape after suffering injuries. They both got their chance to be out there.
Courtney
and
Jones
impact.
Got back in there too. I was really excited for her.
Yes. And it was amazing to see all of that. And it wasn't haphazard. It felt like it was all purposeful. And there was a belief that, okay, you're going to be able to go out there for your last hurrah in the season. And I know that you're going to go out there and make things better, or you're going to make things, still click like they have been. And we're going to keep pushing, because let's just be frank. As Lexington fans, we are not used to clawing back from deficits. That is not something that has really been a part of our club's story.
Correct.
Very often, men or women. When we go down a couple goals,
it's done.
You start kind of feeling like, you're like, all right, that's kind of it for us. And that's not, like I said, that's not a factor of just the women's side. That's just a factor of the club since day one. Like we can't seem to ever climb back. And if we do, it's a rarity and it's an awesome moment. Us climbing back from the deficit that we had made this feel like a win. And the positivity you felt from the players made this feel like a win. I don't feel like any of them left there being like, man, why did it go that way? Everybody was like, we did that. And I think the fans felt that. We were like, we did that. We came back. we managed to pull off that 3-3 draw, and that was huge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it's crazy, the vibe shift like that Ben Willis, I feel like, provided, really. And like Tyler, you were saying, I had the chance to talk to Ben Willis after the game, shortly, and talk to him about his situation and how he felt about the players and everything. And the way he spoke to me was unlike any of the coaches in LSC have ever spoke to me. He spoke to me with so much like earnest and no coach speak whatsoever that I could tell that like I wanted to play for that guy. Like right in that moment, I wanted to play for that guy. And I could tell that the women on our team were drawn to like his, the way he spoke and the way he talked to them. He probably treated them with respect and treated them like women, like it's not we had Stocks, who is used to coaching men, and it's not a 1-for-1 1-for-1 likeness. So I totally agree with you. Like, it just felt way better, and I really wish we could have, been going along that good vibe road for a really long time. We could have been there, but we chose to make silly decisions, and here we are at the end of the season. But I mean, I do feel pretty positive. Like that felt like a win from a draw. We always say that there are draws that feel like losses and draws that feel like wins. This felt like a win for sure. And I'm super happy for all the players who were here originally in the fall and who have always given their effort since day one. And, when Mary Kate got on, I was like, I was so excited, like genuinely so excited, because she's so fun to watch. And it feels like she's an integral part of our team, even though she hasn't been there. Like, I was so excited. And Julie played amazing. And I don't know. There's a lot of really good people on this team. And like, they're great players as well. It just, I think coaching is really the problem here. It's not like, it really isn't like a player issue. It just, we need to get our system right and get the girls feeling in a comfortable system, get them some chemistry going.
Yeah. Yeah. I think the women for sure were dealt a lot of really tough hands and had to play through all of it. Especially with all the coaching changes and roster changes. I think they had a lot of challenges, and they were very, very resilient. Even though the results didn't necessarily show that, they still showed up and they still played their game as best as they could. And I think that's all we as fans really ask for, So.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I just feel like it's really, really hard whenever you would see people kind of like give up throughout the season because the wins weren't coming in. And it's just like, but you don't understand like the effort the players are putting in. It's there. Yeah. It's there. And there's just so many, like you said, Jessica, there's so many outside factors that are affecting this, and it's not their fault. Like, it's so tough when you are having to overcome challenge and change after challenge and change, and you're trying your best to make it happen. But I don't think we really could have started with a better group of players for our inaugural season. Excuse me. I just think they were there for the fans, and that's what matters.
And to that exact point, Tyler, we have to mention Maddie Parsons is just the greatest human of all time. She took her own time and wrote individual notes and gave them out to the fans who were in the supporter section, thanking them for being there, all season long. And just the fact that we have a player to do that and take their own time and think of the fans, when I know that there are some players on, any of our teams who wouldn't even like look twice at me. You know what I mean? That, if I was on fire, and there was water, they wouldn't throw it on me. They would drink it, and Maddie Parsons is the complete opposite. She is a person that I would love to have around all the time. I would take a full team of Maddie Parsons, and we can sit here and be like, she's just a favorite because she's been on the podcast and she's been kind to us, but that would just be so short-sighted and silly to say that, because she's literally like our best player statistically. Tyler, I know you have stats to back up this point, and like, she was on pace to be a Golden Boot, winner, or the lead assist, leader. So I don't buy any of the like, this is just a business, we need to make the right decisions. Dog, F that noise, because Maddie Parsons is the real deal, and she belongs on this team. She represents LSC to a T. She represents what it is to be a green, and what it is to represent this city. Yeah, that's all I have to say.
Well, we say this like year in and year out when we're like, this player is who you need on a team. This player is who is going to endear the club to fans. Like, fans will be like, oh man, I want to support because this person's on that team. And this particular team, our Super League squad, full of wonderful people, great interactions with all of them, very humble, very welcoming. Mm-hmm. It's been great. But then, like, we get into this situation, you know, like we've said it before with players like Otis or Nico or Amal, or like all these players that have always been like, I'm here for the fans. I'm going to play hard for you guys. I want to be here. We end up in situations. And Matty Parsons is one of those. And I'm not saying every player has to go home and write handwritten letters for an entire supporters section. I get that. That's a tough ask, and that necessarily should not be the bar, but that speaks volumes to the type of human that she is and what she can bring to this club as far as, you know, making fans feel like, oh my gosh, this really is a homegrown club. This is a club to call my own. This player cares that I'm here. They actually care I'm here. And I'm very apologetic for this club. But I will call out the fact that I tagged the club and the Super League on my posts talking about her taking the time to write those letters for all those fans. Neither the league nor the club reposted that or anything.
Yeah.
And in my mind, if you have a player doing that type of thing, you put that on billboards.
It should be plastered.
You put that on billboards and you say, hey, yeah, you're going to go to this other sporting event, but do you know we have these type of people playing for our club that actually know when you're there? They care when you're there. They appreciate when you're there. That's what you put on a billboard. And it's a little weird to me. That the club didn't even be like, yo, put that out there. People will tag the club being like, got a new hat today, LSC. And LSC's like, boom, repost. Let's put that out there.
They shared my scarf post.
Yeah, which was rad.
It is a pretty cool scarf setup, if I say so myself. All that credit goes to Austin.
Yes, he's the man with a 3D printer. And that's cool. That's great. And we love when they repost that fans are being genuine and being like, hey, look at this cool thing, like an amazing scarf rack that you had Austin 3D print. And now it's like a place to have those important memories from your signed scarves. But I'm like, man, if I was in charge of LSC, I would have been shouting what Maddie did from the top of a mountain.
Oh,
like
absolutely.
Every person I saw on the street, I'd be like, have you heard about what one of our players did for the fans? And it's just, it's strange to me. I'm not going to lie. It's really, really weird. It's kind of whack. I don't know. So I don't know why that is. I have some very strong feelings about that because I feel like if we have players, not even just Matty Parsons, but you have any players that are like going above and beyond, and like we have them, right? They'll post pictures of players, you know, our keepers handing out their gloves after a match, or a keeper giving their kit, or signing a kid's shoes. Those are important to show. Those are.
Yeah.
But if you have players going that extra mile, that's like, who does that?
Right.
You have to acknowledge it. You have to. And it's just a shame. It's a shame that we didn't. Yeah. But we did. CKL did. We wanted everybody to know that we have the best players representing our city that actually care for our fans, and that's why you should show up to these games. Yeah. But I digress.
Well, and you know what's the upsetting part too is, like, Matty Parsons is a player, and, you know, I'll lump Sarah Cox in here as well because Sarah Cox always went to sign autographs, and Shay Moyer as well.
Yep.
These are players that will draw in fans. Like, one thing we struggle with is attendance, right? That's let's call a spade. We struggle with attendance, especially in the women's department. But if you have familiar faces to draw in the fans, like, oh my God, you know, especially the little kids need to be able to recognize people. And, you know, I'm going to use Jessica as an example. Jessica, you have, you know, the scarf with all their signatures. Will that matter anymore? You know, like, we just don't know.
We'll find out.
Yeah, we'll find out if that matters anymore. You know, like if you want to keep people in the seats, you need to be able to keep the players who entice the people to be in those seats. Players who are nice to fans and players who are excited on the field. And luckily, we already have some of those players who have both.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we got a whole team of them. Sorry, Jessica, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, like, this is not us saying we know what has been announced. Like, nothing's been announced, so we don't know what's going to happen. But as we've been saying in previous episodes, with just the track record that the club has, we just know it's coming.
Yeah.
Which is
hard
unfortunate.
Not to think that. Yeah. You're 100% right. If it's not looming in an LSC fan's mind, it's because they haven't been around enough to know that that's what's going to happen or that trend exists. I mean, it's an unfortunate trend. Once again, and I get it. There are going to be people out there listening, shouting at us, being like, "But you had a losing season. You were bottom." Yes, I get that. But it takes time to build momentum. And if we are a club that has a reputation for team wiping both our men's and our women's side,
nobody's going to want to come here.
No, they're not going to want to be here. They're going to say, I tell you what, you pay me a ton of money so that way if you get rid of me after a year, I'm still good and it's worth my time. That's what they're going to ask for. They're not going to say, oh man, you're right. I can come there and become a legend, like how Cam Lancaster is a legend in Louisville, or Brian Ownby is a legend in Louisville. Like they're not coming here for that because they know that is not an opportunity. We have told the league that we do not offer that opportunity for you to come here, settle in, become a cornerstone. We have told the league, you're going to come here, and unless you just get us to a championship, bye. Yeah. You're out of here. You have 1 year to get it right. One single year.
Well, it doesn't even matter if you succeed too, because I mean, Antez got an award. He was going to be future MVP almost, right. And then, we know where he is.
Well, and my thing, and I'm never one to try and be like, what about your job? But at the same time, I think it's a little weird that we look at coaches and players and we see that they don't succeed and we're like, bye. But then who higher up?
Who watches the watchman?
Who higher up is answering for that? Because at the end of the day, you're the one that signed off on the coach. You're the one that signed off on those players that somebody wanted or didn't want. I don't get it. That's just me. If I'm running a club, I am saying that was a losing season. But who did my fans come to watch? And who left it on the field every single time that I can reasonably see them becoming somebody that can build a culture here, not just for the team, but for the fans. That's how I'm approaching it. I don't think it takes a genius to see that is the smart move when you're trying to build a club, and you can't just survive on people coming to the games on a whim randomly. Mm-hmm. Once every 6 months they show up to a match. You need a strong fan base like other soccer teams have managed to build that are going to be there, rain or shine, 9 out of 10 times. And I just feel like we're not taking the right path to do that.
Yeah.
And you know what's even sillier to me is the chance that we might let go players like Grace or Nayeon Shin, where they are clearly valued at a really high level by their own countries, right? Someone sees really high value in these players, and then we're not using them, or we might not re-sign them, or we don't know what their future holds. And to me, that's just malpractice, and to Tyler's point, who watches the watchman? There are people who on our team who are recognized worldwide, not just in the States. And then we're overlooking them and we won't give them the time of day and we might just let them walk.
Yeah.
I mean, and really you start to ask yourself the question, is a team wipe coming and how many people do we think will even be back? That's information we don't have. No. But we all just said trends are trends. And like I don't know what's worse though. Like we just letting players go, or we do like we've done with the men's side and we hang on to players and then we hide them in a room somewhere and say you're still on the team, but you're not really on the team. Like you might be in a training video here and there, but like I kind of feel like that's like a waste of time. And I know there's more to it. It's not always the club. Sometimes it's the players, not always the players. Sometimes it's the club. But I don't know. What is your gut feeling on how many players that we keep? Like if you just had to like shoot a number out there based on our trends so far as a club.
I would say 2 at best. That's my guess at best. And I don't even like, if I were to pick them, the 2 I would pick would obviously be Maddie and Shay. You know, I can't confidently say 3, but if I were to say 3, I would want Neon Shane to be that 3rd. But I'm worried. I'm scared. And it makes it hard to be a fan, genuinely.
Yeah.
It's true.
For sure.
What's your guess, Jessica?
Again, we've already said this, but very clear caveat that we have no idea.
No, like 0.
Yeah. So this is all complete speculation. Any comments we've made so far is just speculating based on what the club has done, based on what they've done in the past. I would, if I could pick 5, I would pick Maddie, Shay, Shin, Cox, and Mackin.
Yeah.
Julie.
That's a good shout.
Julie Mackin.
Do you think 5 is how many we're keeping?
In your heart of hearts.
I gotta tell you.
I would hope the club is smart enough.
Mm-hmm. Oh my god. I'm blasting out my earbuds. Oh my gosh. You lost Jessica.
I'm glitching out. No. Do I think they'll keep 5? Probably not.
Yeah.
Tyler,
how many do you think they'll keep? What's your gut tell you?
2 to maybe 3.
Tyler, what about you?
I feel 2, maybe 3 as well. I don't know. Something just tells me that it'll be one of those moments where they're like, yeah, we'll keep you and see what happens, but then we're gonna revamp things so hard that who knows what will go down with you. This is maybe an unpopular opinion, but I would like to actually see us keep a good like 60% of our team, 70% of our team. And I feel like
get a good coach.
Maybe, yes, if we got the right coach in position, we added the right pieces, not just like let's get a bunch of like for like players and then relegate the people that were working hard and doing well for these new players. Like we didn't really bring in people to be like, hey, check it out. We actually have a need here because, you know, this spot is completely empty. We were just literally being like, hey, I know you did great the first half of the season, but we're actually going a different direction and then we're going to do worse. So is that cool with you? And I just think that we have to start looking at the long game. Our club feels very short-sighted. It feels very, we win now. We must win now. We must have results now. And to a point, I get that as a fan. I'm tired of being the butt of jokes in the league.
Yeah.
Because us being perpetually online, especially me, since I have to run most of our accounts, like every snide remark about Lexington crosses my feed. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, this is the hardest thing ever. But I feel like we're never going to achieve anything if we keep recycling. So like, I just wish we would do that. I wish we would say, you know what, let's keep about 70% of the team. We'll get a coach. We'll kind of see how we can keep good chemistry by adding in players that are going to add to that chemistry, help develop a vision, have some consistency from one year to the next. And when I say consistency, once again, not we're going to keep these players and then you're never going to hear from them or see them again. Like you actually say, We are going to build off of what you did well. We are also expecting you help us raise the bar. We're bringing you back. We need you to help us get here. And we're going to try and add what we can from our side. So we're going to hold up our end of the deal. You're going to hold up your end of the deal. We're going to see what year 2 brings, and we're going to go from there.
Yeah.
I don't think we're going to, though.
Yeah, I'm tired of hiring coaches and letting them dictate everything and pick every one they want, and then it just fall apart every single time instead of like us seeing value in players as a club as a whole and then letting a coach work with those strengths. Hire a coach who is going to find the best in those players. I mean, it's obviously not the same. I'm going to use a Premier League example, but Chelsea, we've been through manager changes, year in year, but we haven't the roster from last season is a lot of the same. Like we still had Cole Palmer and Caicedo and Enzo and, a good core. And we still made it, and we're going to be in the Champions League this year because we kept a good core. And even though we hired a new coach, we went through a whole new coaching process, and we were still able to get through the season in a good spot because we kept a good core group of people. If Chelsea were to hire a new coach and throw all their players out, it wouldn't work. And they tried that a few seasons ago. They tried to get rid of a bunch of their guys and try to swap and buy new players right away. And it didn't work. We didn't do well. And it's just so evident. I don't understand. I just want to grab someone by the head and look them in the eyes and be like, what are you seeing, my guy?
Yeah. Yep. It's difficult. It's really, really difficult. It feels like we talk to other fans, fans of other clubs even talk to us, and they're like, how does nobody see the obvious? And it's I just don't think anybody wants to. I just think everybody just is this is how we're going to do it, and that's just what's going to happen. And it's no, you know what? This hasn't been working for quite some time now. We need to figure this out. And I just feel like the message every year is we're going to get there. We're going to get there. And it's we are not. With team wipes. Team wipes are not going to get us there. They just are not. And each player that we manage to lure in is going to care less and less about the club and more about what they can get in that 1 year that they think they're going to be here and then be gone. We are not building something with longevity. And it's getting very, very frustrating.
Exhausting too.
Tiring.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. Honestly, people that have been around from the early days of CKL, they know that I would write a whole write-up for every single player we brought on. I would research the heck out of them. I would find out information about them. I would figure out how to get graphics about their performance. In those early days, I had to do some serious research because we had a lot of people that were not on any radars anywhere. I don't do those anymore because it's not because I don't value the players, but honestly, I don't have time to do 30 of them within a month span every single season. And especially now that we have more teams, it's okay, the season's getting ready to start up. I guess I got to do 30 rounds of research on 30 different players and do 30 different, 2-page write-ups. It got to be a lot, as opposed to other teams. They're yeah, we're adding 5 new guys. That's it. 5 new girls. That's it. And everybody else is the same, and you can rely on that. This is, seeing the end is frustrating because we feel what's coming.
We just know what's going to happen.
Again, if you've been around LSC more than 2 years, you already know. You could bet money on it. If this was on DraftKings, I'd be putting my mortgage on it. That's how confident I am that we're all going to be disappointed.
Over under
and just be okay. Yep. Mm-hmm. So we'd be winning that. Everybody would be robbing DraftKings wild. So I don't know. I just feel like it's tough. But if we look at the positive side of it, I am super grateful that we did have the people that we had playing for us.
Yes,
for sure.
It just, there's something special about that first season. It was there with the men's side. That first season, there's just something about all those players. They were all so grateful to be here, and they were also personable, and they were also approachable, and I interacted with them all on a pretty regular basis. And the same thing's happening with the Super League squad. I feel like they were all just super awesome people. super genuine and grateful to be here. And I hope that we can keep that vibe going with whatever occurs. I pray that we do not end up with just these people that swing through and say, let's get a paycheck and peace out at the end of the year, no matter what happens. Because it's scary.
Yeah. I think it's going to be so hard, if we're making these off-season moves, trying to convince people to come in, why would anyone want to come play here in this dysfunctional system? Like if they know that they're going to be thrown out in a year, or they're not going to have success, like Tyler said, they'll just come for a paycheck. And, we don't want people to come just for a paycheck. We want people to be here because they want to be here. And like, honestly, as a fan, I wouldn't go to games in person. I could just watch them at home but I'm going to the games in person for the Super League for certain players because I like certain players and I want to see them succeed, and I'm rooting for those specific players. If those players were not on this team, I'll just not go to the games, honestly. I hate to be that way, but it's not to see this go through every season. The trends, we're talking about the trends, to go through these trends every single season. It's not worth my time and my suffering, right? Like, it's not worth me getting my hopes up and caring for these people if the club isn't going to give something back to me. You know what I mean? I'm not asking for food to be free or them to, wipe my feet when I walk in the doors. I'm just asking for a little bit of gratitude.
And it just comes down to common sense. I don't know very many USL teams that have been successful off of team wipes. Like, all the successful teams have holdover players that are like legends, or that people look to and they're like, they've been here, they've been repping that badge, they're still here. Like, we come to games because they are the bomb. Like
Terzaghi for the Kickers.
Richmond.
That guy's been playing for longer than I've been alive. It feels like, and I bet the Kickers love that guy. I bet he's the coolest, to them, because he's been there every year and he's been successful for them, and I'm jealous of them. I'm jealous to have a player like that, who's going to be, you see them all the time.
Also, can we talk about how the women's league team in Annapolis had over 7,000 in attendance for a women's league game?
Yeah.
I feel like we should be looking at clubs like that and be like, all right, what are they doing? Because they're doing something right. And how can we, bring it here?
I agree. And, again, it kind of comes back to that. And just to prove, like Dillon mentioned this, he's like, it's not that we're just being homers about players. It's like you still have statistical facts to back it up. I mean, if you look at season statistics for assists, we still have 3 players in the top 4, Perez, Moyer, and Parsons by the end of the seasons. And Perez and Parsons did not see as much time throughout the later half of the season as they did at the beginning half, which is crazy. We're looking at chances created. Parsons is in the top 7 for chances created. If you drop into shots taken, she's in the top 14. If you look at goals, Parsons is in the top 10 for those. It's crazy. You can keep going. If we even look at saves, Sarah Cox is number 2 in the league, and she didn't play every game, and she's number 2. If she had played every game, she would have been number 1, which again, says things about defense. But the fact that she was able to make so many saves, pretty epic. If you look at Madison Perez, she was top 6 in crosses delivered, accurate crosses, didn't play every single game or every single minute. Clearances, she was top 3 for clearances. We have all these players that are in the upper echelon of the Super League. So it's do something about that.
This is a great point you're hammering too about Maddie Perez. And one thing we've been kind of upset with her throughout this season was her back passes to the keeper. And the last game, I was looking for it. I didn't see a single
Didn't happen.
one. And I honestly think that is due to Ben Willis's coaching. He's making Maddie feel more confident in herself to get those tight passes. And granted, there were a couple tight ones, but she was able to get those off.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's true.
I understand. So Ben Willis is moving on to. It's been announced that he's moving on to a college team. Is it no, or just like a lower?
Yeah, he's gonna go be coaching for the Clippers in Washington. So
and I know
back home.
Yeah, no, it's a decision based on family, which I totally understand. But I honestly, if he wasn't doing that, if they didn't make him head coach next season, it would have been like, why? Because like the impact he had in just the past couple games when he was filling in, it was night and day. You know, he made such a big impact, like you could tell. So shout out to him for that, because it was really fun to watch.
It was pretty clutch.
I worry, just as a sports fan of all my teams, regardless of the sport, of being too analytical and not just watching the game and, who has good game sense and, good game rhythm and all that, because that might be a problem we have. We might be like looking too analytical and trying to, play with numbers too much instead of actually looking with our own eyes.
It's true. I think that's a really good point about things. And, all this is just conjecture. And unfortunately, I neither have the money nor the power to make these types of decisions. Otherwise, I'd be making some pretty different decisions than what we've seen before. And I just really hope that we get a chance to cheer on a lot of these girls in green again. I hate the idea that they're possibly going to be playing for other clubs against us. Although if we, as a club, decide to move on and not renew contracts, then I hope they have awesome success wherever they go. I mean, that's one thing about us. Like, you go to another club, we're still going to cheer for you. I know there's some people in the fan base that have particular feelings about that, but in my mind, it's like, you rep the badge. And unless you're just like somebody that came through and it was bad vibes and you didn't care the whole time you were here, like, you deserve for us to be like, you know what? I hope you kill it. Like, maybe not against us, but I hope you kill it. And I hope that you find success. And, I think that's the best thing that we can do to show appreciation, is that continued support, as opposed to just, dropping and being like, peace. I don't care what happens to you now. Cause I think that sucks. That's kind of a bummer. I mean, we've had it happen through CKL. We've actually had a couple of players, the moment that they moved on, we were like, bye, and stopped following us on everything, even though it was like, saw you like every match and interviewed you and did player of the match graphics for you. And, so I just think that that's kind of a crummy route to go. I think it's important that you show, like, you know what, you were a part of our history. You played for us. You tried your best. Have success. Do your thing.
Speaking of player of the match.
Yeah.
Maddie Parsons got player of the match for.
She did. Perez had a lot of votes too for that banger. That was a sick goal. I'm not going to lie. But yeah, Parsons ended up getting player of the match. So we'll be putting out a graphic. You might see it by the time you listen to this. If not, spoiler, you'll see a graphic at some point. You'll like it and share it. But it'll be out there. So I guess, I don't know. What is our big takeaway from the season? Let's not dwell on the what ifs. Like, because I feel like we've gone to like a dark rabbit hole of like, everything's going to be bad and everybody get ready because darkness is coming. Yeah, which I just think it's just our personal like trauma from supporting the club, knowing it. But I think there are a lot of positives here, and we've mentioned the players. But what's our big takeaway from the season?
Oh man, it's really hard because you're just saying like, what's our takeaway from the season after we just went on a rant about what's wrong, and there's so much wrong, and where we were in this in the standings is obviously not acceptable. Like, I don't want us to lose. I don't necessarily have a takeaway. Like, I can't lie to the listeners. Like, I genuinely I'm a person, I wear my heart on my sleeve. If you see me in person, I can't hide my emotions. I just have to, I don't know, maybe it's the Northeastern in me. Like I just kind of say what's on my mind and, whatever. But like there was nothing good about this season besides the moments from the players. That's all there is. There was no positive, there was no like win besides the last game in December. There was no like statement games for us where I was like, wow, I am so pumped for this team and I'm so excited for the rest of the season, because there just wasn't any of those moments. And it felt all haphazard and, making silly decisions in middle of the season, whether what happened with Mike Dickey was, warranted or not. I just think how that situation played out was not smart. Trying to replace players mid-season when there was nothing wrong, or trying to fix a department that doesn't need to be fixed. There's just no positive takeaways from this. Like it's honestly a bad experience, and I'm genuinely worried about what's going to happen. Like it's going to be hard. It's very hard. It's hard to be a fan of this club. Mm-hmm. Seriously. If you're listening to this and you don't understand what we have been saying this last hour and last 20 million episodes we've done, like, I don't know. You just got to get it together. Soon we're going to be wearing bags on our heads in the stadium to like show like how upset we are. Like I'm serious.
Clown noses.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm a
clowning for the club.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I will say, like, I think the nice thing, the takeaway for me is I feel like as we've gotten bigger on the men's side, I feel like there's been more and more distance between the fans and the players. I know we get all those nice, pretty like photos of them signing the posters, but like I've even heard people say like sometimes it just feels like an assembly line, which I get it. There's a lot of fans and you can't sit there and talk with every single fan for 20 minutes. Like you got to sign and you got to go do your interviews. You got to go break it down in the locker room. Sometimes the game is tough and you just kind of are in a mood and it's tough to do that. But I just feel like the vibe has changed so much since year one. It was kind of encouraging to see that like we could get that vibe back when the women's team showed up. And it felt more like, okay, this feels a little bit more like this is a grassroots, this is our club type situation. So that was encouraging to see. I think like the second part of that takeaway is, and future players aren't going to hear this, so it'll be lost on deaf ears. But I hope that as we go to the future, whoever comes in understands like you have to be that type of player. I'm not saying you have to be like my social battery is the highest that you've ever seen and I love interacting with people every single day. That's not necessarily fair to say that you have to be that type of person just because you're a soccer player and you play professionally. I just hope they understand that like making it feel very genuine, that you are not here just to play for the club. You're here to play for the fans and for the badge that you're wearing weekly. I think that that is a really important thing. And I think that this season showed that, because with an abysmal season, it was abysmal. Like hearing people cheer the way they did in that last game.
Yeah.
Seeing as many fans come out as they did on that last game. Like, granted, it wasn't like what we see at the USLC games, but it was nice to see so many people come out and all of them were cheering their hearts out and having a good time. And I think it truly is because they know that those players were trying week in and week out. So that's kind of like my dual takeaway from this.
Yeah. Yeah. My main thing was going to be just the relationships. Like, and knowing that, like, yeah, you could talk to them, that it was genuine.
Yes.
Them coming out and playing for the club and for the fans. That was I think that's my biggest thing.
Yeah. I should, I mentioned it in there, the moments with the players, and obviously I don't want to harp on the sad things too much, but yeah, the players were the best part of the season for me, for sure. Like I loved all the moments. And like, I don't know, something about the last game and having them come over and like, they all shook our hands and stuff, the people who were down in front. And I don't know, that meant a lot. That was cool. And like, if we could have that, if they could just come over after games, like, I don't know how many times I was out there in the cold and the pouring rain and stuff. I don't know. Just the small stuff matters.
Right.
It really does. Making your fans feel appreciated is huge. And like you said, it can be a small thing, Dillon, coming by the supporter section and just walking by, high fives and being like, thanks for being here. That matters. And it just never really felt robotic or forced. It always felt like for real though, we appreciate you being here. They didn't have to say it in so many words, but it was there. So,
which if you notice, they started doing that once Ben took over.
Yeah.
They started coming to the supporter section.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's just difference in like coaching expectations versus, the players might have wanted to do that before, but then maybe there was some directive like, no, we got to do A, B, and C once the match finished, because every coach kind of has their own little weird like vibe and like list of once the match is done, we do this, 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 and this. So
yeah.
I don't know. I'm hopeful. I'm not hopeful, but I am hopeful. I'm a weird ball of emotions right now. I just want to believe that we'll be at least pleasantly surprised in some way, shape, or form when the decisions start rolling. I mean, they got to be coming quick. Like preseason is July. Preseason is July. That is insane for me to think that that's what's going down. So like, I don't know. Everybody's like, who's the coach? I have no clue. I do feel like it would be kind of crazy if we didn't already have somebody that we had in mind, at least, let alone locked down, considering preseason's in July, a month away. You got to have your players in order. Excuse me. So that's a big part of it. So I feel like all the cogs are already moving. I just hope they're moving in the direction that we like. I hope it's not an unfavorable thing, but we'll see. I just hope everybody had a chance to make them feel appreciated while they were here. I hope that whoever comes in, we don't do like the whole, but you're not Shea Moyer, you're not Madison Perez. Like, so hopefully we can still find it to welcome them in, open arms, quickly, completely, because the wound's probably going to be fresh when they start showing up. Yeah. Like it feels very much like we have no choice but to be like, goodbye, players. Hello, players. Like the just revolving doors going to spin quick. Yeah. So the amount of time we have to process it all is probably going to be pretty minute in the grand scheme of things. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. Very bittersweet. Yeah. But whoever's here, we're going to be rooting for you. If you're not here, we're going to be rooting for you.
Yeah.
Just from afar. That's all there is. Again, maybe not whenever you're playing against us. Maybe not. We'll do it quietly. We'll be like, yeah, good job, Shay. And somebody will be like, what'd you say? I'm like, nothing. It's fine. Did not cheer for that. We'll see. All right. Final thoughts.
If there are any players from the Super League who listen to us, or maybe this is your first time listening to us or something, just want to say thank you for the season. Thank you for your effort. It was never lost, ever. We always saw it. And I'm, the players who I'm speaking about, like they know who they are, right? Like I'm so thankful for you. You guys know who you are. Like I'm so appreciative as a person, like someone who, like, I don't know, I personally struggle like going on the field afterwards. Like I have a lot of anxiety, and like, being around professional athletes, like it feels very overwhelming to me. And there are certain players on the women's team who have made me feel very comfortable with being on the field. And honestly, that's not something I can like take for granted. That like honestly means more than, like a jersey or anything, like any merch, whatever. Like being comfortable in the space I am, it means the world to me. And thank those players very much.
Yeah.
And just think how many other people had similar experiences in some form or fashion because of the genuine people that we had here. It's a big deal. I think we're all grateful that you chose to play here.
Yeah.
For sure. All right.
Once a green, always a green.
Always a green. We do have one last thing before we go, though. I don't think it's too late. I'm pretty sure it's still good to be able to join in. But the Railbirds, the supporters group for Lexington Sporting Club, they're doing their Pride Raiser. They do this every year. So you can pledge an amount for every goal scored. It's kind of wild this year because it's every goal scored by our USLW team, our USL2 team, our championship team, and it was our most recent Super League game as well. Now there won't be any more of those. But for every single goal scored by those teams, whatever you pledge, that's what you will pay. It gets tallied up, and at the end of June, they will send you how much that you can donate to a great cause. So we at the CKL squad, group, crew, people, coalition, we have made a pledge. And I think we're already up to 11 goals between all the teams. So we're already cooking.
They're trying to make me go bankrupt.
Yes. Like the team decided, you know what? We're going to score all of our goals in June, and then we're going to wrestle Tyler to the ground and then hold him up by his ankles and shake him until all of the money falls out. And then we'll take his shoes too. So definitely it's an awesome cause. Just make sure that you get on there. Like I think the Railbirds post periodically. I think they recently did, maybe like 2 days ago. If you're curious, you can't find it, I'm sure you can reach out to them on socials, or you can reach out to us. We'll guide you. We'll send you the direction you need to go, so you can get more information, make your pledge, and hopefully we'll score 1 million goals in June, and we can all try and contribute to a great cause. Okay, so make sure you check that out. All right. Hooey. I'm sure we'll talk more about like Super League stuff because I just feel like I can't let go. There'll probably be some news coming pretty quick, so we'll have to rehash all that. But at least we got a lot off of our chest today. I don't know. Maybe it's just the fact that all of our feet hurt and our knees hurt and our sides hurt and whatever. All the pains from rec soccer took us to a dark place today. But it's okay. It's okay. There will be happy things to come out of all of this. I'm sure of it. Everybody just make sure that you watch out for all the news that's coming down for the Super League. It's sure to come fast. Championship still going on. We already plugged this. USL2, USLW still going on. So catch those games so that way you can get your fix, your LSC fix, and do what you need to do. We'll talk more about them next week, but also like USL2 is doing really good. So if you are needing an extra pick-me-up, you can go check out a USL2 team game because you're probably going to see some goals and some wins. So, all right, that does that. Next time we're together, we will probably still be sore and tired because we have another practice. And then we have games after that in perpetuity. Well, not really, just until like August. But it'll feel like eternity because, life. My body's already hating me.
I know. I'm going to go eat a banana.
Yes. Whole bushel of them. A bushel? Bunch? I don't know. Whatever. Just make sure you don't accidentally eat a plantain.
True.
Right. Fried plantains are kind of dope.
They are, though. Just not raw ones.
Yeah.
Raw ones. Have you ever tried
Who would ever eat a raw plantain?
I tried one. I was curious one time. It was gross. It was the worst thing I've ever done in my life.
No, you got to cook them.
It's not a great time. But
Get some tostones.
Yeah, there you go. Boom. Don't follow my cooking or eating advice. Other people. Treat everything like it's an episode of Fear Factor. All right, guys. So until next time, we'll be talking about the men's team. We'll have Kyle with us on that episode. Do what you can. In the meantime, support the club. And you know what it is. Come on, you Greens.